talked about this panel a couple years ago when Jill and Daryl Ann and I were, talking about how we wanted to construct it. She said a quote that I still have written down. And she said, the first one through the door opens the door for the rest. And I was like, oh, wow, that's
Yep.
a good one. So the question I have for you, Daryl Ann, is how can each of us and our listeners advocate for one another?
We need to understand the difference between mentorship and sponsorship. And if you're not familiar with sponsorship, we need to get familiar with sponsorship, because I think mentorship takes up a big place in all these conversations, as it should, because mentorship does lead to more equitable outcomes. Um, and men tend to get and be able to take advantage of mentorship a lot more than women do. But sponsorship is the act of somebody um, using and leveraging their position, their privilege. So they might be in rooms that you're not able to be in, and they will put their name on the line and say, hey, I think Shannon would be an excellent person for this, complex job. I think they would do a really great job of this. I think we need to give her the opportunity. Or, hey, we're thinking about expanding our team and growing. Before we look at hiring from outside, I think Shannon would be an excellent candidate to move up, and then we can look at backfilling her. That needs to be our strategic plan. So if you understand that, then you can ask for sponsorship the same way we've been taught to ask for mentorship. If it's not coming to us, we need to ask for it. If it's not coming to us, we need to ask to be sponsored. Um, let's see. Uh, some other small, very small, these are small in the grand scheme of things, but some tangible ways, we know that women tend to get interrupted more than men. So as you're in a meeting and you notice this trend, it is perfectly acceptable to, like Jill mentioned earlier, you don't have to get angry. You don't have to kind of escalate the situation. But men in the room, or women who do have that comfortability speaking, or the privilege or the tenure, whatever that looks like, you know, hey, great thought on that, but I want to bring it back to Shannon. Shannon, you started with your thought. I want to hear you finish. So learning the art of redirecting back to the person
Mm.
whose original idea it was is so powerful, because it again, it kind of goes back to that idea of sponsorship. If I sit there and I'm like, you interrupted me, I need the spotlight back, that could create negative perceptions that can continue on, even though it shouldn't, right? The person who interrupted should have the negative perception on them, not the person who was interrupted. But that art of leadership, regardless of your title, to say, hey, let's bring it back to Shannon, let's bring it back to Jill, let's bring it back to Daryl. They had a really great thought. Let's hear them finish. Like, thank you for that, but let's hear them finish.